and welcome back to another episode of From the Ground Up. I'm Bianca Miller Cole, and today I'm so excited to say this is the launch episode. So today we are at the official launch of High & Skin. Yes! After all of these months and months of work and preparation, we're finally at that point where we have a launch event and we invite members of the influencer community, some celebrities and some press, down to experience the brand and to hear about the story. So here we are. This is our fancy backdrop illustrating all of our fantastic sponsors, Yom, Fiverr, Soho Friends, and of course High & Skin. So we've got here, we've got the area where the product is going to be. So for anyone that's trying to try the product or buy the product, they can do so here. We also have the photo booth stand. So we've got a photo booth stand being set up here. So anyone that comes in can get a photo booth, a branded photo booth experience. We've got all the balloons here set up by Quirky Hire. We've got the presentation screen ready to go. We've got the video and camera team. We got the DJ. We are ready to go. So I'm going to show you more of the event throughout today. Finally, if you guys have been following along the journey, you've seen all of the steps that I've taken to get to the point when we launched the brand, and we are finally here. The website is ready and it is now launched. It's available online, and I'm so excited to start seeing people making those purchases. But let me take you one step back, okay? So to give you some context, I decided on a date. I said 1st of October, that is the date that we are going to launch this brand. But I also wanted to check the website. Now, this is important for you on this journey. You might think, okay, the website's done, we can just launch. But I'm a big believer in testing everything first. Test, test, and test again. So we basically did a pre-launch strategy. I did a bit of a kind of Instagram DM kind of strategy whereby I put on my stories, the brand is ready to launch, to people who respond to this message and are ready to buy so that they can help me out with the testing phase. Now, lots of people had been on the waiting list. So of course, having the website up, allowing people to register helped with this. So we sent an email out to those who had registered, but I also did a DM strategy where I said, if you want the link and you want to test this website for me and help me with the testing phase, then pop me a DM and I'll send a special link to you. So I had a special link set up that allowed people to navigate behind the holding page. And that's what allowed them to pre-order. So of course, we got some orders in, we managed to test the flow, making sure that people could go through the website ordering process seamlessly. Then it would go through to the logistics center at Habu, and they would be able to send it out to the customer. So we made sure that was all working seamlessly. Now, there were a few, let's say, hiccups, okay? So at one point, the logistics center system wasn't auto-releasing the orders, so we were manually having to release each one, which of course was part of the testing, but I wanted to make sure it was working. So we had that set up for auto-release, so they would go out to them. And of course, we now made sure the website was working really well. So Philippe and George at Mobians, who's my web designers from Fiverr, they were working on the back end of the website, working with logistics center to make sure it was all seamless. So our first set of customers started getting their products prior to the official launch date. Now that was super exciting because, as you know, it's really important that you start to get that feedback as early on as possible. So we started getting messages basically straight away from customers saying, oh my gosh, Bianca, what is in these products? My skin is incredible. And you know what? Let me be honest with you. As an entrepreneur, someone creating a product, you often know your product is incredible, right? You've tried it, you've tested it, your friends and family have tested it, but they're your friends and family. You would hope that they would be absolutely honest with you, and my friends and family are actually brutally honest. So, okay, I knew that it was good. I knew it was great, in fact. But then when you start getting people who are not friends and family try the product and say, oh my gosh, my skin feels incredible after 3 or 4 or 5 days, let alone 30 days, that feedback, I just love it. It just made me feel so happy, okay? So that was great. And of course, as you know from other episodes where we focused on kind of an influencer or a UGC strategy, so a user-generated content strategy, you want to create more content for your social media to show that the brand works. So just naturally and organically, we had people responding and sending pictures and sending videos and talking about the product, which allowed us to share more content prior to launch. So then the launch day was approaching, and I was working with MGX Media, my Fiverr social media management team, and they were working all of the reels and videos and shorts and so on that we could then put onto Instagram and TikTok to announce the launch. And that was, that's the moment, isn't it? I was checking and rechecking and double checking to make sure I was happy with the content I was going to go out to say, we've now launched. It's available. So on the 1st of October, well, it was midnight, the website was officially open. I had a few people who said, I want to be the first to buy. And one person messaged me at, 1 minute past and was like, was I the first? I was like, yes, you were the first. Again, really nice feeling. And then the next morning, I think it was about 9 a.m., we released all of the videos saying it's now launched. So I'm going to show you the video now, right? This is the Instagram post that we put up across Instagram and WhatsApp and across a few different places saying, we are now live. And so we had people sharing that content and sharing the fact that we were live. And again, you want people on your side sharing the fact that now the brand is available for purchase. So that was step one. Now there's a reason why I chose to have the website launch first prior to having a launch event. It's a couple of reasons. One was just timing, but also you want to make sure the website is fully functional and works to the best in the best way before you go to launch. Then have a big launch event and people are posting about it, and then you realize the website's not available and so on. There is this feeling right now, especially in an e-commerce brand, of instant gratification. People want to feel that they can see something on a post and go to the website and buy it straight away. They don't want to wait. So I wanted to make sure the website was fully functioning before we had a launch event. So that was step one. The website was live, the feedback was coming in, people were loving it. And I found one thing that I want to be honest, I maybe didn't expect, right? I, along this journey, have told you that I think it's really important to focus on a niche audience. All of the content, all of the website copy had been written from the perspective of me launching a skincare brand for women. Now, I had said to you before that I was launching a skincare brand for women, and I expected that their partners, their friends, and so on would then, and their male friends would then start wanting to use it because they'd seen the improvement in their skin. I expected that in a relationship, maybe a girlfriend or a wife or so on who's with a male partner would be using it, and then that male partner might sneak a few squirts here and there and use it, right? That was my expectation, and that was happening. But what I didn't expect was that men would come and purchase of their own accord. Right? Irrelevant of the fact that the website is quite female-centric, lots of female pictures and stuff on there. Men were messaging me and saying, Bianca, can men use this too? And of course they can. It's a wash, it's a serum, it's a cream. And the branding, to be fair, is not very gender specific. It's not very female orientated. It's quite a neutral looking product. And so men were now just buying it. I was getting all the feedback from the men saying, oh my gosh, I love this product. And I was saying to them, okay, how's it going? They were like, yeah, Bianca, this is great. The serum even looks amazing on my beard and so on. I'm like, okay, this is new information. What was more interesting though was that the men don't like sharing with their partners. That was something I didn't expect. I thought it was a sharing community, but a lot of the men were like, no, I bought my products. My wife can, or my girlfriend can buy their own, right? So again, really interesting feedback. And as you go on this journey in business, you take on that feedback, you make changes. So I'm now having to look at and review the website, and I potentially will have to reach out to the copy editor, to the image designers, and make some adjustments so we have some men on the website too, to make it a more balanced site. So that's something that I've had as feedback. Anyway, so the website was live, and now I had decided to have a launch event. Now, I'll be honest with you, I am not, actually, before I talk about the launch event, let me talk about one thing that hasn't gone quite right with the website. Now, that one thing is the search engine optimization. Now, you guys know that from the outset, I said to you, SEO is so important. It's really important in helping the site to be found organically. And I'm a big believer in SEO. I've seen it work for myself and my other websites. And so I obviously engaged an SEO team. And partly it might have been my fault. Maybe I engaged them too early before the site was, months before the site was ready. But on the other side, I think they didn't quite understand some of the important elements of the brand. So when I was going through doing an SEO review for myself, I was looking at the meta tags, meta descriptions, and metadata. Some of it wasn't quite right. And so I had to go back and work with the team to make those changes. And I'm saying this to you because I don't want you to think it's always a smooth journey. In business, sometimes things don't go quite right. You might have the best team, but actually maybe the communication isn't quite there or you haven't quite got it right. And we're working now to rectify that. We're working on new meta tags and meta descriptions. We're working on the SEO plan, and I'm sure it will work out. But I just wanted to tell you that because I don't want you to think it's always a seamless journey, a seamless road. In business, there are so many ups, downs, peaks and troughs, and things don't always work on time. And that's just the reality. Anyway, I decided I'm going to have a launch event. Now, I don't typically have launch events when I launch a brand. I often, as a mentor, don't encourage people to have launch events when they launch a brand. And there's a few reasons why. One is that I think that sometimes we rush to have a launch event, and actually that money could be better spent. That money could be better spent on your advertising campaign and so on, because you might be able to reach more people. Now, I've had launch events before for my books. I've had book launches, and I think that's a very necessary part of the marketing plan for a book. But I've never had a launch event for a product. But I decided that I wanted to take the step to having a launch event because there's a few key reasons. I'm going to give you the reasons, and this might help you to decide whether you want to have a launch event or not. So the first one is I wanted to get the product into the hands of more influencers. Now, there is an argument that you could just send those products to the influencers. You could just post it to them. It'd work out cheaper than having a launch event. However, I really wanted to create more content. Like, content is so important. As you continue to build the brand, there's only so many times you can say, hey, this is a serum, go and buy it. Hey, this is a cream. Hey, this is a wash. You now need other people saying that for you, and you need more user-generated content. And so I wanted it to get into the hands of influencers. So one way of doing that is posting it. But the other way of doing that is having an event where you can invite them to learn about the product, but also to then get their gift bags and then try the product out. So I, as a speaker, as an entrepreneur, as the founder of the brand, I think it's so important, and I probably said this before, to think about your personal brand and how you communicate the story. Now, I've been communicating the story online on my social media, but I wanted to communicate the story more widely. So by having a launch event, I'd be able to go on the stage and talk about my journey to creating the brand. That will then create some brand resonance. That will make the person understand your motivations, and they'll understand a little bit more about the brand and how it works. And hopefully that will encourage them to try it and to use it in the way that it's intended. So that's one side of the coin. The other side is skincare is notoriously competitive. And so we had a plan to reach out to press and journalists and so on. But of course, when reaching out to those press and journalists, a lot of them are like, okay, we've got skincare, we've got loads of those. So I had to think about, how do I get them in the room? How do I get them to share the story? And an event is a great way to do that, because you're bringing them into the space and you're getting them to see the brand, see the product, see the founder, and see other people enthuse about the product. So that's another reason. And then, of course, I have some clients, I have some key stakeholders that I would like to be in the room to share the journey. People who have been along this journey with me and have supported me thus far, I want them to be in the room as well. And so I decided that I'm going to have a launch event. And it is hard work. It's hard work. It's hard work planning a launch event. It's hard work coordinating everyone and realizing there's so many things you have to do. Now, luckily, I guess we'll say it's luckily, prior to the launch event, we actually went to an expo. Now, this expo is called the Black Business Show, and it's a really big expo. I was already exhibiting there as a speaker, author, and mentor, so I decided to get a stand side by side. I've got my self-made stand, and I've got the high-end skin Bianca Miller London stand side by side, right? And the reason for doing that is, one, it starts getting you into an event mindset. So I now had to get my banners created. So I reached out to someone on Fiverr to help me to create those banners. And then, of course, it gives you that first moment to interact with consumers and show them the product face to face. So, of course, we were selling product on that day. That's going to help us achieve our target in terms of sales. But also, it's an awareness-driven campaign. So now you're seeing people face to face, you're sharing the product, you're squirting it in their hands, they're seeing it, they're smelling it. And that gives them a chance to really understand why you've created the brand and what it does. And the feedback, again, was incredible. People saying, Bianca, this serum smells amazing, obviously. And saying how the serum seeps into their skin. It doesn't sit on their skin, a really important part of skincare, by the way. So it seeps into their skin. So people are getting to try it, then trying the cream and saying, okay, I can see how the two things complement each other and so on. So we had some sales as a result of the expo, but we also created lots of awareness and more content that we can share on our social media. But it also got my team into that event mindset. So then we now had the boxes ready. We now had the bags ready. We were now taking those steps forward to be ready for the launch event. And of course, then there's the event.
It's spinning around in my head. Did you really mean the words you said? Yeah. 'Cause the way I see it, you had every chance to walk away. Perfect, but I don't wanna hurt no one when all is said and done. Just tell me that I'm worth it. Tell me I'm the only one,
I remember at 15 going to my GP and saying, hey, I'm struggling with my skin, and them saying, hey, don't worry, it's natural, it's hormonal, you'll be fine in a couple of years. But here's your two options, steroid cream or the pill. My mum was like, no, you're not going on the pill. So the steroid cream, I tried it, didn't work. I got to 19, I had a little bit more money because I've always been entrepreneurial. I went to like an esthetician. I went to some little facial clinics and so on. He said, don't worry, Bianca, when you have children, your skin will get better. And I was like, I'm 19. And now I'm 33 and I still haven't had children, so I've waited a long time for my skin to get better. So I decided I was going to create a skincare brand. I started looking at the products and looking at what I was putting on my body and realized I couldn't read any of the ingredients on most of the products. So I thought I need to create something that is natural but actually works, to show people how to use Fiverr by building a business in real time, in real life. And so I've been, for the last 9 months, I think it is, creating a series sharing every step of this process of starting this business. And today, of course, is the launch, and will be the launch episode that goes up next week. So finally, I just want to thank our sponsors. It's, putting an event on like this is not always easy. So I really want to thank Yom, who came on as our drink sponsor, Soho Friends, who have allowed us to have this fantastic venue. So thank you very much, Soho Friends. Fiverr, of course, who have made this whole journey possible of tracking this and showing people what it's like to build a brand, which I think is so important. My goal is to help 1,500 people elevate their skin by March. So if you can help me with that goal, I would appreciate you all. Thank you very much. Have a great evening. So here is the checklist. So if you've been following along this journey, you're thinking about starting your brand and of course going through this launch process, you'll be thinking about who to invite to the event. So you might be thinking about members of the public or potential customers or influencers, celebrities, VIP guests, the type of people who will be able to share the message about your brand. Now, these may be people who have particular influence in their arena, or of course, it might be people who you know will love the product and will share it amongst their audience. So I want you to be thinking about who you want to invite. That's number one. Number two, I need you to be thinking about how you're going to share the message. So you're here, you've decided to have an event, you've got a space that costs money. So you want to be thinking about how you're going to budget for sharing that message. Is it worth it? Or would you rather allocate that budget to another activity like ad spend and so on? So do you want to have an event? Is it necessary? And is it going to add to the value for the business? And number 3, if you are going to have an event, then you need to think about what happens after the event. So have you made the event shareable? Have you informed people of where to share it and how to share it? And are you documenting the journey of having the event and what happens afterwards? Giving the people who attended shareable content is going to make them more inclined to want to share. So that is the checklist. I wish you the best of luck on your launch. So there we are, that was the launch event, and I'm so excited. The brand is now available. High-End Skin by Bianca Miller London at biancamillerlondon.com. And I want to thank Fiverr for being on this journey with me, for supporting me in creating my winning team of Fiverr freelancers. Without them, I would not have been able to launch this brand, and certainly not launch it in that period of time. And that is what it's all about. Finding a team that can help you to win. And that's what this series is about, helping you and I create a brand from the ground up. I will see you next time for the next episode.